This is Rabbi Son, hot takes on news, pop culture, and religion, hosted by Rabbi Patrick. That's me and my son, Javon. Spiritual, irreverent, always fearless, produced by Darshan Yeshiva, and boy, are we grateful. So, speaking of produced by, you know what might help to get more episodes produced would be your financial support. So, join Darshan Yeshiva, become a student. I'm not asking you to donate anything. Do not give us a dime. Just join a class, that's enough. And we'll keep producing this kind of content. And then, as per custom, we will now ask the question that changes, the response, I should say, that changes every single time, which is, Javon, how are you today? To which he responds,
Fine.
Fine. Javon is fine. That should be a piece of merch. It's just like a shirt that says Javon is fine. And then people will wonder, who is Javon?
Or you can just be like, how are you doing today?
Fine.
Exactly.
Nice.
Make it simple.
All right. So we were talking about something last night, and I don't even know how we got on the topic of it, but you seemed kind of interested in this question. So whatever it was we were talking about, I made the comment that you can never really quit Judaism. Actually, no, now I remember. So it's because we were talking about Jewish serial killers. There's only one that I know of, and how you might wonder whether he's considered Jewish anymore because he converted to evangelical Christianity while in jail. And so I made the comment, but you can't really quit Judaism anyway. And then you were like, oh, let's make that a topic. So what was it about me saying that made you think like, oh, that could be a topic?
Well, I don't remember, but like, I don't know. Maybe just had a question.
Yeah, but you don't know what the question was.
No, just like, interesting question that was posed. Like, can you convert if you were already Jewish, could you convert to like Christianity?
Do you think it's possible? The rabbis had very strong opinions on this.
I don't think so.
Yeah? Okay, why would you would say that you can't convert out, basically, is what?
Exactly.
Okay, so why do you say that?
Like, if you're like ethnically Jewish, like then you can't really separate that just because you went over to Christianity.
Right.
Yes, you are still Jewish. It just happens you're practicing Christianity.
Okay. So then here's an interesting question. So if there hypothetically was a country the Jews all moved to, I don't know, let's call it Israel. We'll just for a name. Would you say, if you were in charge of the ministry of absorption of immigrants, if someone says, well, hey, I'm a Catholic, but I'm an Ashkenazi, meaning like an ethnically European Jew, I should be able to move to the Jewish state and have citizenship. What would you say to that?
Fine, because you're Jewish. No one told you had to, practice Judaism.
But that's true. Now, what if the circumstances were that it was under pressure? Like, well, they converted, but like really they didn't believe it. They just did it because whatever country they're in, it was unsafe to be Jewish.
Like they converted out of Judaism?
Right. But maybe there was like some sort of the country that they're in pressures them to do it because for some reason, right? Like maybe there's like some authoritarian regime or something like that. Would you say that it's the same?
No, because you converted for something that you don't believe in, so just like you just did it. It's like a dog and pony show,
right?
It's like, oh yeah, let me dunk my head in some water and then I'm christened to God, and it's like, no, you don't actually believe that. Like the whole point of conversion is because you believe it. Is because you want to immerse yourself. If you're doing that purely out of safety, then it's just void.
Now, what if a person says though, well, okay, sure, I was born into a Jewish family, but we didn't practice any of it. We never did anything. We had a Christmas tree. We just didn't do any of it. Okay. And then, I got older and I became a Hindu. I'm just making this up, right? Is that person Jewish?
Are they ethnically Jewish?
I don't know. Sure. Why not?
Then yes.
Because
they are. Just like,
okay. So you can never leave, is what you're saying. It's like the mafia. Once you're in, you're in.
Pretty much. Like, if you want to, go practice Hinduism, it's just like,
But doesn't that violate a person's right to sort of self-ownership of like, well, just because I was born this, that doesn't mean anything. Like I own my own identity and I have a right to, I'm going to sound like your generation, I have the right to identify any way I want to, and you can't misreligion me.
I don't think people are misreligion. Like, okay.
I just totally made up a term, misreligion someone.
Yeah, you misreligion. So
I did not plan that. That was totally off the cuff.
I don't know. I think because I think it depends on like how are you looking at Jewish like as a religion or like its own ethnic group. That's the step. Like that is where if you're looking at its own ethnic group, then its own ethnic group, and then you can still do what like you want outside of that. It's like no one's like. It's all about who's interpreting what angle.
Right.
Is it its own ethnic group or is it just a religion?
Now, what if a person is born, let's say a Buddhist or something, they're born into a Thai family. They move to America, whatever. They move to New York. They marry a Jewish person. And they're like, no, like, this is kind of my family. Like, I'm part of a Jewish family now. I'm going to convert to Judaism. But then some horrible thing happens, that family dies, right? And they're like, you know what? I'm gonna become something else. I'm gonna become a Christian now. Now remember, once a Jew, always a Jew. Can they leave?
I think I'm making the distinction that I'm going on like I said, either ethnic group or religion. I'm on the ethnic group side, then like no, you can't leave.
Okay, but the religion side could.
Yeah.
What's the difference though?
Because one, the ethnicity, that's something like you just have in other like a religion.
So I'm going to challenge you on ethnicity because here's the problem. So terms like ethnicity, race, nationality,
you better say they all jumbled up
religion,
random terms.
They're Western terms. They're terms that like only apply in a Western context. So this idea that
that's the only context I know.
Well, that's why I'm challenging it. So in Western thinking, there's the country that you are a citizen of. There's the nationality or ethnicity. There's the race, which is purely skin tone, right? And then there's the religion, which is a set of beliefs, okay? In Southeast Asian or Middle Eastern thinking, no. There's one concept, and it's called peoplehood or tribe, or in Hebrew, you'd say an am, like a peoplehood. So the peoplehood is, because race isn't really, that doesn't really work, like the term race, but like it's ethnicity, nationality, and religion are all kind of one concept. And it isn't until you get into later sort of European thinking about like, oh no, Jews are French, right? But they're French people who practice the Jewish religion, right? That's a newer concept in human history. And in so much as, what do you do with an adopted child? So I've known families like this before. They adopt children. You have to do a formal conversion process if they're not biologically your child. And then that's that. They're part of the Jewish family. They are not maybe ancestrally Ashkenazi, Mizrahi, Sephardi, but they're part of the Am. They're part of the peoplehood. And the way the rabbis thought of it was being Jewish is part of the Am, and you can't leave the Am. You're stuck in it. You don't have to like it. You can disassociate from it, but you can never truly leave the Am. And it violates our very Western sense of like, no, don't label me. Like I can be anything I want to be. Which you're pushing back against, which I think is kind of funny. I wasn't expecting that answer.
No, I just think like, in my Western way of thinking, I'm not thinking about, because people aren't, okay, you say like the right?
Mm-hmm.
And like this is, peoplehood, but it's still in that peoplehood, there are divisions within that peoplehood.
Sure.
That the people themselves differentiate.
Yes.
From. So you can say it's Western thinking, but like, I think Western thinking is just putting words to things that people are already doing.
Okay.
Like, you can be a part of the but then those same people in that this set of people, this set of people, this set of people have different beliefs on how they work within that
Okay. Okay, but can you leave the right?
Some people in the group believe they can leave the some other people don't. There you go. It's a matter of opinion.
Well, there you go.
Like,
I mean, that's true. That's absolutely true. And to that point, okay, so now let me flip it around. So this assumes people voluntarily leave the religion. The worst case scenario being they voluntarily leave because someone's holding a gun to their head or tells them they have to leave the country if they don't convert to whatever the thing is. All right. Let me ask you a different way. Can you do something so terrible, something that so violates the religion that you can get kicked out of the
No, because who are they? No, because religion is supposed to be your own, your own spiritual path. Like, I get people want to have community, but then the day religion is your own spiritual path. You're going down your own journey. Nobody on this planet can tell you that you can't practice this thing because we, as a collective humans, said you can't worship this God that we're also worshiping, even though nothing said by that God said you couldn't worship. You know what I'm saying? Like, there is no I'm trying to over-explain. No, people cannot tell other people they cannot practice, what they want to practice.
Okay, so, but then that gets complicated, right? Because if it's more than religion, if it's the if it's the peoplehood, do tribes or groups have a right to say who we identify with in our group and who we do not?
I mean, that's fine. And that individual that you disagree with can still practice that belief. It just so happens that you're not practicing that belief with them.
Okay, so that is what the rabbis basically said. So the question of can you ever get kicked out? Well, so I'll go back. So can you ever leave? So the only thing you can do to truly sort of cut yourself off from community is by basically choosing, like, I am not this anymore, and to completely de-affiliate, disassociate. You no longer use that identity. Even so, there are rabbis that would say, nope, you cannot leave. It is impossible. It is intrinsic to who you are, including if you convert, including if you were like adopted, let's say, and you make some kind of argument like, oh, well, but like I was converted against my will because I was a baby. What did I know? Right? Something like that. So the majority of rabbis even would say, nope, no matter what you do, you cannot completely remove yourself. You can practice some other religion. You can say you're not Jewish anymore, but ultimately, like sort of on paper, you can never leave. It's impossible. Now, if you flip that around, can you ever get kicked out? So there's a concept called Apikoros. It comes from the word Epicurean. And it basically means someone who would have been thought of as like thinking outside of normative religious practice. This is a very, very old, it's a Talmudic term. And so there were all of these labels that the rabbis gave to like what qualifies someone as an apikoros, which is like another way of saying an apostate. I had it pulled up here because I actually thought it was interesting. There's a line. There's a bunch of them, but I was thinking Mishnah Torah. So this comes from Maimonides. So this is past the Talmud. But okay, so this is a couple of items from Mishnah Torah. So you are considered apikoros if you deny the existence of prophecy and maintain that there is no knowledge communicated from God to the hearts of men. If you dispute the prophecy of Moses, our teacher, if you maintain that the Creator is not aware of the deeds of people, each of these three individuals is in apikoros, and then it breaks down even further. Individuals who are considered deniers of Torah and all this other stuff. So the reason why I bring this up is that there was a process that the rabbis used to use. It was called Cherem. And Cherem was like the formal decree of like, we as a Jewish community no longer consider this person Jewish. And to my knowledge, the last person to ever get this in any kind of formal sense was a rabbi named Mordecai Kaplan, who is the founder of Reconstructionist Judaism. And just looking over it, basically he did all three of those things. So he denied the existence of prophecy. He disputed and therefore disputed the prophecy of Moses. And then he believed in God more in the sense of like a force or a power, a little bit more blind to the everyday workings of humanity. So God is more like an energy that makes human beings greater rather than sort of a caricature of what people think God is. And so I guess you could say that like he loses on the first two, and then on the third one, maybe he gets like halfway. So two and a half moments of apostasy there. So yeah, so he was formally like kicked out of Judaism. But he kind of wasn't, because he's the founder of Reconstructionist Judaism. There's the Reconstructionist Rabbinical College. There are Reconstructionist synagogues everywhere. When I converted to Judaism, it was within the Reconstructionist movement. So, like, you kicked him out, but, like, didn't really go that far. The kicking out didn't really do much of a ban now, did it?
I mean, yeah, kicking out. Like I said, who are these people to tell you can't do something? It's like, ideas change, minds change, minds evolve. Like, why would you ever, and this is like in any instance, have someone, just tell you this like this is the right thing, this is the right thing, this is the right thing, without you actually checking if it's the right thing or not. Whether or not you actually sit down and say, let me think about this.
Mm-hmm.
And let me think, could this have actually happened? Like, is this a probable thing that could have happened?
Mm-hmm.
And, that's why you get these different branches of these things. People had questions that weren't answered, or they, found other ways to answer them. And then, boom. Like, but at the end, who are those people? Who are those, yeah, who are you? Like,
yeah.
Mind your business.
Mind your business.
I just think that, like, that's like, the ultimate, people have choices. This is, a world of choice. And yeah, they try to kick him out. Then what happened? Boom, whole movement,
Yeah.
So really, no, you can't ever kick anyone out, because they would be like, well, you kicked me out. And then people are going to see that as, oh, why'd you kick him out? What are his ideas?
Okay.
And then they're like, oh, that makes sense. Oh, I believe what you're talking about. And then those people would be like, oh, see problems with, the side that we're on before. I'm like, oh, no, actually, this person makes a lot of sense. This is, I can see my life. This is more maneuverable for me.
Right.
So I'm going to go where I, have more space to breathe and to maneuver while still having those same roots.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think that's why, even though it runs contrary to our Western, like, understanding of, like, self-identifying and all of these other things, I actually think it's kind of a good thing that you can't get kicked out of Judaism and you can never really quit it. Because yeah, you'll practice whatever religion you want, but the fact that at the end of the day, even someone who, is on a spiritual journey for 40, 50 years away from Judaism, if, like, in the latter part of their life they walk into a synagogue and they're like, I don't know what's going on, someone is still going to hand them a book and say, like, you're fine, just like sit with me and I'll show you what to do, which is, I think, a harder ask for some communities and stuff like that. So
I mean, 40, 50 years spiritual journey. I mean, sometimes you need to pack it up. That's like a really long time.
Well, I mean, think of it this way. I mean, so I'm not ethnically Jewish. Can I quit Judaism? I mean, converted, I'm a rabbi, I've given my life to this.
I mean, you're too in it now.
I'm too in it now.
Yeah, you separated all the dishes. Like, it's too late. We're like beyond the pale.
Beyond the pale. All right. Cool. All right. Well, this is interesting. Cool. Well, this is a little bit of a micro episode. If you like these sort of smaller episodes, please let us know. We're trying the longer ones and the shorter ones. You got to give us something to work with. So thank you, Javon. Appreciate you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you to our sponsors at Darshan Yeshiva for making this content possible. Darshan Yeshiva provides beginner-level online Jewish learning, including the very popular Conversion to Judaism program, with sponsoring rabbis and students all over the world. Start your Jewish journey any place, anywhere, and anytime with our conservative, reform, Reconstructionist, Jewish renewal, humanistic, and post-denominational rabbi mentors. Become the Jew you always wanted to be with Darshan Yeshiva.